Welcome to Tiger Talk, your source for information about your hometown and surrounding area. Tiger Talk is brought to you by Straight Beans Coffee House on Lower Main in Princeton, Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Katie's delicious homemade goodness, and Perry's Floors and More. And good Thursday morning. Welcome to Tiger Talk on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. This morning we are continuing our Meet the Candidate series on WPKY, and we have the pleasure of welcoming into the WPKY studios this morning our 4th District State Representative, Republican from Marion, Mr. Lynn Bechler. And good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ty. How are you today?
I'm just wonderful. It's so nice to see you again.
Good to be here. I enjoy the opportunity.
Yes, sir, and it's nice that you are down here at WPKY. You've been here and visited before, and like to see you in the studio. And let's preface this Tiger Talk this morning just by telling the folks this is not a forum, so to speak. This is not me grilling you with questions. This is basically you talking about yourself, you as a candidate, and what you want your constituents to know about you, what your accomplishments, and how you like to see things moving forward. Of course, our primary is coming up May the 22nd. It's getting close.
It really is. It really is. As you and I were discussing this beforehand, I've never had such an extended period of time to talk without somebody asking me questions. Even on the House floor, when I get up and make a statement or we're debating something, it doesn't go. I started to say it doesn't seem to go as long. Sometimes it does seem, but
Yeah.
it certainly doesn't go as long as what you're affording me to do today. So my background is not in politics until I started running for office here, but my background is technical, so I tend to kind of be shorter in my responses and my talk. So. I'll try not to.
I'll try to help you along the way.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But anyway, thank you so very much for the opportunity. I love to be here in Caldwell County and talk to the folks and listen frequently to the concerns of the citizens of Caldwell County. As you mentioned, we have a primary coming up in May, next week, May 22nd, and I am on the Republican ballot. Now, in Kentucky, we have what is called a closed primary system, which means that only Republicans vote in a Republican primary and only Democrats are able to vote in a Democrat primary. So I am asking all Republicans to vote for me in the primary coming up. Primary elections are historically about voter turnout. Many times the turnout in a primary election is substantially lower than it is in a general election. And I guess I should not say many times, I should say always, or at least 99-point-something% of the time. So I would encourage all my supporters, everybody who is thinking about voting for me, to come out and vote on May 22nd, because in a primary, your vote counts even more than it does in a general election. So please come out and vote. A little bit about myself for those who don't know me. I'll start out by saying that I am oftentimes most recognized by the horse I bring into all the parades in Caldwell County, be it in Princeton or be it in Fredonia, or actually throughout the entire district. I have a Clydesdale named Gus who pulls a carriage. If you remember the Oklahoma, the musical, we actually have a carriage that's similar to that. It's got a little fringe on top and everything, and Gus pulls the wagon. And what I find interesting about that is that several times when we haven't brought him because he's limping or something like that, I hear a lot of people say, "Where's Gus? Where's Gus?" I never hear them yell, "Hey, Lynn, we're happy that you're here, but Gus isn't." So anyway, I'm the guy who has the big Clydesdale in the parades. So that's one way to remember me. I have been honored to be your state representative for the past 6 years. Each term of the House of Representatives in Kentucky is a 2-year term. So I've been elected 3 times, and I'm running for the 4th term. I enjoy what I'm doing. I feel that I am making a bit of a difference. No individual can make all the difference, but by working with others, on both sides of the aisle, one is able to make an impact, and I think I've done so. Several years ago, when the Democrats were still controlling the House of Representatives, I had an amendment to a Democrat bill, and my colleagues were saying, "Well, it's good to have the amendment, but it'll never it has to be heard because they'll recognize me, but your chances of getting it passed and with the bill are nil." Well, I got up and spoke, and as it turns out, my amendment passed, and I was able to change legislation even though I was in the minority party. And that particular bill was very interesting because it was a bill that would have required all children in school, I think it was 12 or under, something along that line, to get a vaccination for the human papilloma virus. And, that's a virus that is passed by sexual activity, and it was going to be required of even boys as well as girls. So my amendment rather, simply said that a parent would have to opt in and say, "Yes, I want my child to be vaccinated with that," whereas the original bill said that the parents would have to opt out. And so my amendment passed, and it effectively killed the bill. It did not keep anybody who wants their child to be vaccinated from actually getting the vaccination. It just kept the state out of that particular thing. So as I mentioned, I've been effective, I believe, in the House of Representatives. I have been a recognized leader. A little bit about myself personally is I've been married to my wife for, it'll be 50 years by the general election, and quite proud and happy about that. I have 4 children. They're all grown. I have 3 sons and a daughter, and I have 12 grandchildren. And if I think about it, I believe I have 5 granddaughters and 7 grandsons, but I'd have to sit here and go down by each of their names to be sure I have the count.
You can field more than a baseball team.
I can. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I can field a football team and with a specialty kicker. So I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with it. And interestingly, they've all played ball of some kind or another. I coached all my kids in various sports in Little League, my daughter in soccer and softball, my sons in baseball and wrestling. Actually, I'm also a farmer. When we lived in Illinois, I was a licensed sports official, so I've officiated at baseball and softball and wrestling, and I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I know that one of the first times I refereed, one of the refs came up to me and said, "Well, how do you like it now?" And I said, "It's no different. I could see perfectly when I was in the stands, and I see perfectly down here." Yeah. So I'm only kidding, folks. I did say that, but I was only kidding him. Educationally, I have a double major. I have a major in engineering and a major in math. My degree is in aerospace engineering. I have a Bachelor of Science in aerospace engineering, and I'm also a certified manufacturing engineer. I got that certification after I graduated. In the House of Representatives, I currently serve on the Transportation Committee, the Economic and Workforce Development Committee, and the Elections and Constitutional Amendments Committee. I am the House Chairman of the Program Review and Investigation Committee, which is the only committee in state government that has subpoena powers. One of the things that we're looking at doing this interim is taking a look at the Kentucky Wired Project. For those who aren't familiar with it, it is a project that was supposed to deliver internet capability to all areas of the Commonwealth. Well, it was a lousy contract. It's over budget. The way the contract is set up, we have to pay it. But there have been allegations of fraud with that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a good look at the Kentucky Wired program, where we are now, the contract itself. This was a contract that was signed back during the Governor Bechler administration. So we're just now getting into the meat of it, where we can see all the problems that we have. Also in the House, I was on the Agricultural Committee for a number of years, and while I was on the committee, I was instrumental in working for and actually getting the funding approved for the University of Kentucky Grain and Forage Center of Excellence in Princeton. That is now, as everyone knows, I believe, underway. The groundbreaking was earlier this year. We were in session, and I couldn't attend the groundbreaking, but I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to UK. It is a world-class institution, or a world-class educational facility, and it was that center that actually began and is the expert on no-till planning. So I'm looking forward to what they get. I think it'll bring a lot more of an economic development to the Princeton area and to the surrounding communities in total. The 4th District encompasses all of Caldwell County, all of Crittenden County, all of Livingston County, and part of Christian County. It is, if not the largest geographical House district in the state, it's one of the largest, certainly within the top 3. I oftentimes kid some of my senatorial colleagues who only have 1 or 2 counties that I should have been a senator and they should have been a representative, just based on geographic. However, of course, they represent more people than I do.
Now, years ago, part of the district had McCracken County. They redid the district, didn't they?
That's correct.
Yeah.
There was we are required to redistrict every 10 years in conjunction with the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Census. And what happened was the redistricting, the House of Representatives was controlled by the Democrats. The Senate was controlled by Republicans, and leadership kind of made an agreement that they wouldn't mess with the other chambers' redistricting plans. Well, the way the Democrat redistricting plan came about, it even had a little stretch of highway in eastern Kentucky where the county or 2 counties were connected by a highway. Nobody lived on there. So it was just truly gerrymandering. So that was taken to court. The court said it is unconstitutional. You have to redistrict again. So instead of changing the boundaries for the 2012 election, the boundaries were changed for the 2014 election. So I was a representative of about 7 precincts in McCracken County for 2 years. Then after the redistricting, McCracken County was removed from the district, and part of Christian County was put in.
Was added, yeah.
The way the population is, you have to. There are 100 House of Representatives. 100 members in the House of Representatives, and each member has to have about the same number. So 1/100th of the population of the state of Kentucky. So we have about 43,000 residents approximately. There's a plus or minus because you can't be exact. And each county that is represented in a district must touch or be contiguous to the next county. So in Christian County, for example, there are 3 representatives, whereas in Caldwell, Crittenden, and Livingston, there's just 1. So that's kind of how we get to that. The some of the other things that are going on. Ty, when I was here last, we spoke about the organ donation bill.
Yes.
That was one of that I sponsored. That was one of the first that Governor Bevin signed this year, which was named after Courtney Fleer, the Princeton resident who wanted to be an organ donor, who passed away unfortunately in an automobile accident. And the Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, or CODA as it's known, which is the clearinghouse for all transplants in the state, was never contacted. So working with the House of Representatives, working with Courtney's mom, Bridget, we were able to get the law changed so that now all coroners and medical examiners in such a case would have to call CODA. Another bill that I sponsored and was signed into law by the governor this year was a bill that addresses primarily the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry. In the past, there were requirements by the state, and there are still requirements by the state, that said a resident of Kentucky had to be in the business for so many years before being able to take a test to become a journeyman, or in so many years before it could take a test to become a master technician. Well, our HVAC folks are having trouble, as are most industries, getting qualified people in. But the way the law is that people coming in from out of state who wanted to participate, even though they had as much experience as those folks already in Kentucky, had to be longer in the state of Kentucky before they could even take either test. So the bill lowered the requirement. It gave people who came in from out of state, if they could verify that they were in business and doing the work the same amount of time, the same amount of expertise as those already in Kentucky, they are eligible to take the test. I want to emphasize that it's just to take the test.
Right. It's just a reciprocal type of thing where they can just take the test. They still have to pass that test.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, they do. Another part of the bill that was very important is each heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company is required to have a master technician with them. And many of these HVAC companies are, in fact, I'll call them mom and pop shops. They're owned by a family. Well, should there be a death of the master technician associated with that company, the company has to immediately shut down. And we've had companies in Kentucky where they had to close their doors because they didn't have a master technician with them. So the bill grandfathered the company for 6 months. It allows them to stay in business, continue to pay their employees, continue to make money, continue to do the work for the people so that they could stay in business and not go out of business.
In the past, they just have to shut down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's happened a number of times in the state.
Right.
So the bill changed that law. It's a shame that oftentimes what I will refer to as common sense legislation takes so long to get through, but that's the reality of our system. The good news about that is that everybody studies the heck out of it, and once it comes, people pretty well know what the issues are and what they are not. I am a fiscal and social conservative. I don't think that surprises anybody in the district. You may not always agree with me, but I think you always know where I stand on an issue. I publish an article in each of the county newspapers once a week during session, telling them about the bills that I felt were very important in that particular week, what transpired, how I voted, and why I voted. So I try to use that. I also post the article on Facebook. So I try to make sure that all the folks in the 4 counties that I represent know what I'm doing. There's information there how to contact me, and you can believe me that people do contact me, and they contact me not just during the session, but they contact me during the interim, which we're in now. And I'm currently working on a couple issues with folks in the district who have contacted me recently. As I mentioned, I am very much a conservative, and I believe that is shown by the endorsements that I have. I've been endorsed by the NRA, by the Kentucky Right to Life folks, by Freedom's Heritage Forum, and the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. In addition, during my time in the state legislature, I have received accolades and from the American Conservative Union, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, and the Family Foundation. So I am a true conservative, and these are organizations that I'm sure everyone knows are both involved in the political as well as the social aspect of our state. So I'm very proud of that. I also am proud of the fact that while I am a Republican, I believe in Republican ideals. I signed an affidavit when I ran for the state each time, saying that I believe in what the Republican Party stands for. I support its party platform. And while I do, there are certainly times when our leadership takes positions that I don't feel are in true concert with what I think a Republican ought to be. So I never hesitate to vote my own conscience the way that I feel the folks in the 4th District want me to vote. I know I've heard some people complain, some representatives complain that if you don't toe the party line, you're ostracized in some fashion. Well, that isn't really true in the Republican House of Representatives. I know for a fact that we have never been told that if you vote this way or don't vote that way, you will lose your chairmanship or seat on a particular committee. And I think that is I really have to commend our leadership on that. But in addition to that, a number of times when I vote the way leadership would prefer I not, I've developed their respect in the fact that I am the chair of the Program Review and Investigations Committee. And this is a very important committee. So I'm able to work effectively with leadership. I'm able to work effectively on both sides of the aisle. As I mentioned before, I was able to get the human papilloma virus amendment on a Democrat bill. So I have been an effective and think I will continue to be an effective leader in the House of Representatives.
Let's take a quick break. Believe it or not, we've almost burnt 30 minutes, but we've got a few more minutes left. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll kind of summarize and maybe wrap up a few solid points, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much, Ty.
Okay. All right. It is 8:28, and we have the pleasure of having in the WPKY studio this morning 4th District State Representative Lynn Bechler. He's a Republican from Marion and running for re-election. May 22nd primary coming up. We'll be back on Tiger Talk on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger.
String Beans Coffee House in downtown Princeton specializes in made-to-order espresso drinks. Stop by Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to noon and enjoy a pick-me-up. You can also enjoy fresh-baked scones, homemade chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookies, and espresso brownies that'll keep you going all day long. They're also open on Saturday from 9 to 2. String Beans Coffee House on Lower Main in Princeton. Great coffee and more in a great atmosphere on Lower Main in downtown Princeton. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouth-watering desserts sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown, homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
And at 8:29, welcome back to Tiger Talk. 4th District State Representative Lynn Bechler in studio, and we're going to wrap up this segment of our Meet the Candidates, and I'll give the floor back to Mr. Bechler, and he can kind of summarize what we've been talking about this morning, and we will then invite into the studios Mr. Paul Walker, who is running for U.S. House of Representatives in the 1st District. So go ahead, Mr. Bechler.
Thank you, Ty. I can't believe I talked for that long.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
It really goes quickly. A couple of things I want to highlight is that I'm proud that we were able to override Governor Bevin's veto of both the budget and the revenue bill. I think Governor Bevin's doing a good job, but sometimes we look at things a little bit differently. So I was one of those folks who voted to override. And as a matter of fact, I saw Governor Bevin a couple days ago, and there's no hard feelings about what we did.
It's work, isn't it?
It really is. It really is work. I will just summarize. I believe that I have accomplished a bit of what I've set out to do. You never accomplish everything in the first year or two. I ask for all Republicans to vote for me in the May 22nd primary so that I can go back to Frankfort and continue voicing what I believe the folks in the 4th Legislative District want me to do. I've been effective. My health is good. So far, we never know what's going to come down the road, but my health is good now. I am enjoying the work that I do. It is in fact work. There were over close to 900 bills filed in the session we just had, and before you vote on a bill, you've got to read it, ask questions, and understand it. So I ask all Republicans to come out and vote next Tuesday, May 22nd, and for Lynn Bechler for the state representative in District 4. I appreciate the time that you've given me today, Ty. I've enjoyed and I'm proud to be able to represent Caldwell County as well as Crittenden County and Livingston County and the portion of Christian County I represent, and I hope to be able to continue to do that. And if I'm fortunate enough to win the primary, I ask for everybody's vote in the November 6th election. Thanks very much, and thanks to everybody who was listening today. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir, very much for being here. I think it's very important that our listeners and the citizens get to hear from folks that are running for office, and we certainly appreciate you being here today, and good luck in the primary.
Thank you very much.
All right. That is our 4th District State Representative, Lynn Bechler. He's a Republican from Marion, Kentucky. We certainly appreciate him being here, and we invite you to stay tuned as we will have Mr. Paul Walker. He is a Democrat, and he is running for U.S. House of Representatives in the 1st District, and we'll be right up here in just a few minutes on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger.